Are you self-employed, frustrated and confused because you've just been asked to add a guarantor or a cosigner to your mortgage application? Not to worry. Hi, I'm Jamie Pritchard, your self-employed mortgage guy. Today, I'm going to help you understand the difference between a guarantor and a cosigner and whether it's really necessary. If you're being asked for a guarantor or a cosigner, there are two important reasons a lender is making this request. It is either because of your credit history or your income. If the issue is your credit history, then you will be asked for a guarantor. If the issue is mainly the income, then chances are you're going to be asked for a cosigner or a co-borrower. So what's the difference? A guarantor can be a friend or a family member. They do not have to be a blood relative. They do have to sign on the mortgage papers, and they may be responsible for the actual payment of the mortgage only in the case where you default on the mortgage. If you continue to pay the mortgage, then the lender will not bother your guarantor. The most important distinction between a guarantor and a cosigner is that as a guarantor, you are not required to go on title. You will, however, have to go to a lawyer and seek what's called independent legal advice, or commonly referred to as ILA. A cosigner or a co-borrower, on the other hand, will also need to sign on the mortgage, will also be responsible for payments in the event of default. But the most important distinction is that they must, I repeat, they must be put on title onto the property that they are signing the mortgage for. In addition, they will be required to add independent legal advice or ILA. In both cases, it's important, very important for all parties to understand, by being a guarantor or a cosigner, that this will impact their credit bureau and it will impact their ability to borrow funds in the future for their own needs. So it's very important that you take some serious consideration, both as the individual asking them and for the individual that is willing to come on as a guarantor and or a cosigner. The most important thing to understand, though, is that being a guarantor or a cosigner is not necessarily forever. If your circumstances change in the future, for example, you go from a part-time to a full-time job so you have more income, you can always go back to a lender and ask them to reconsider removing the cosigner or the borrower, or the cosigner, co-borrower, or the guarantor. As long as your circumstances have changed. It's also important for you to make sure that your mortgage agent explains to you the pros and cons of making this request, and also, is it really necessary? Have they considered other options for you, such as stated income or debt-to-equity lending guidelines, which are options for self-employed where income is an issue. It may not be an option if the credit history was the concern. For more detailed information, you can download my ultimate guide to mortgages for the self-employed at jamielovesmortgages.ca. It is my gift to you to get you the mortgage that you want and need. I'm Jamie Pritchard, your self-employed mortgage guy.